Hello learners, today we'll be continuing with MFN 6, that is public nutrition of your syllabus. So now we'll be doing chapter number 12, which is strategies to combat public nutrition problems 1, as the chapter says. Okay, so this chapter basically deals with the strategies, of course by the name you can understand, to deal with or to combat with public nutrition problems. The things which we learned in the previous chapters, then whatever the problems arises, we have to deal with that. So these are the strategies. So first, the diet or food-based strategies. Food-based strategies are defined as a preventive and comprehensive strategy that uses food that is whole, refined form, processed, fortified, or a combination as a tool to overcome micronutrient deficiency. For an example, if we see, we have learnt about iron deficiency disorder, and as we know that iron is not present in many of the foods, but what government did? Government has fortified salt with iodine, because salt is a very essential thing in our food, like in our entire meal. Any kind of food, but salt is essential. So if iodine is fortified with salt, like salt is fortified with iodine, then people will automatically get a dosage of that with salt. And as it is like in a very negligible amount, if we take like we eat salt in a very negligible amount, not like heaps and heaps of salt that we are taking, so that way there will be no issues of iodine deficiency disorder by this. Okay, so now coming to so these are one of the food or diet. There are other products also, like some foods are done with iron fortification, and there are other different types of foods also. In commercials we can see that fortified with such and such, fortified with vitamin A, D, E, K or something like that. So these are also fortified, these are one of the food or diet based strategies. Now coming to dietary diversification or modification. Now sometimes what happened, due to some clinical reasons or something, we have to change our dietary pattern, or we have to modify certain things which we normally do in all types of clinical conditions. So these are required for curing or maybe from sometimes for prevention from any types of disease, which doesn't basically become a pandemic, which is a very common term nowadays. So if something is caused due to deficiency disorders, then this can be done by modification or diversification of food, basically prevented. Okay, see, there are examples given about general eating habits and how the modifications are done. I won't go through this. Other than that, there is horticulture interventions, like if we like for example, we have heard of certain types of fruits and vegetables which we know as hybrid. So what are these? What we do is, not we, the farmers do is, they like they take two types of vegetable or a fruit and they grow it in the same manner. There are different processes for that, of course. We don't want to go into much into detail, but they do it because then both the nutrients which are there in both the fruits or both the vegetables will be present in that particular hybrid one. So that way we can enhance the nutritive value of that particular food. So this is called horticulture interventions. Food fortification I have already mentioned, so I won't again go into it. Okay. So there are certain examples also given about food fortification. Now nutrition and health education. One more thing. Sometimes what we normally do or what we normally see from our ancestors or from elders in our family is somehow a bit not correct. So we need to educate people, because due to very diverse religion and cultural differences in our, like in India maybe, so that way what happens, sometimes certain things are caused and which is like certain beliefs and practices are done which is not actually a healthy one. Like it is better to fast, but not for the entire day. If you fast for maybe 12 hours or 6 hours or 12 hours or something, that is good for health, because that also comes under intermittent fasting. But if you keep on fasting just because you are not getting time, or maybe you have to do some puja or something, or certain, for these type of things, even like say for example what happens, which is very common in our families, a female member eats at the last. But that is not always right, because there are certain conditions, certain physiological statuses where the female member should get appropriate nutrition, because there are lots and lots of hormonal changes happening inside us, inside the females than in males. There are also hormonal changes happening in males also, but in comparison, female hormonal imbalances are very common. So what happens is sometimes nutrition requirement and time management of eating the meal should be looked after more, like especially for females. But as the custom goes on, the female, maybe the person, maybe our mother or somebody like that, that person will be eating at the last. So that is not good. So these type of nutritional education should be given, so that the person understands the need of doing these type of things. There are many things which happens. I am not going in detail about that. You can always see that in your own family, because there is something or the other like these type of things happening. So education is required, and moreover during pregnancy or during lactation, what happens is people are unaware of the foods which should be eaten and which should be avoided. So these education should be given. Okay. Now coming to nutrition based approach, the medicinal approach to combat public nutrition problem. As I was telling you, during certain physiological changes in the body of a female, there are the requirement of the of everything, of every nutrient changes. So supplementation is required, and supplementation is a short-term like preventive measure. So that way, what happens, we can always look after the nutritional value of these type of people. Especially, I am mentioning the physiological status thing because. Okay, now coming to supplementation, a short-term preventive strategy. As I was telling that during certain physiological statuses of female, or maybe during like after birth for a child, and some supplementation is required to incorporate more and more number of like nutrients. Sometimes in certain clinical conditions also supplementation is required, because sometimes it happens that we are not able to give the right amount of food or right amount of nutrients only through food. Of course food is required, but apart from that, certain things are required in a major way, so that way we can use supplementation. Okay, you can see certain examples given over here, and what are food fortification, supplementation, and other things. So by this we come to an end to this chapter. Now coming to chapter number 13, which deals with strategies to combat with nutritional problems too. It is the continuation of the previous chapter, as you can understand. So first we'll go through immunization. Everybody is aware of the fact that immunization is a mandatory thing which is done for like all infants. Starting from the birth, there is an immunization chart is given, and that way we can prevent many types of diseases. So, and this thing is mandatory, made by the government. So wherever, which hospital or nursing home or anything, anywhere the baby is born, this immunization schedule is given, and the person is bound to do all those types of immunization for the betterment of the health of the child. Now coming to the second part of this chapter, again supplementary feeding program. See, as I have mentioned earlier, ICDS system, then Pradhan Mantri Gramodaya Yojana, these are all types of things deals with immunization and supplementation also for the kids. Okay, so there is we have already discussed before these type of these projects, like one I have already mentioned, Pradhan Mantri Gramodaya Yojana, then Project Poshak, which was done in Madhya Pradesh, then Bal Poshan project in Rajasthan, and there are many like this. Then National Midday Meal programs. This was mentioned in the earlier chapters. One more thing which is going nowadays, which is not in your chapter, which is very much evident nowadays, that is Poshan Abhiyan, which is done by the Modi government, so that in all females and all children are not by the end of 2022, the target is by the end of 2022 nobody dies of malnutrition. So this is the target. I don't know whether that will be successful or not, because COVID is killing most of them due to, and the main reason of this is malnutrition, because during COVID persons are not able to eat the food in the right manner, and that is creating malnutrition. That is also a reason why people are dying out of COVID. Not only corona vaccine is creating the mess, this malnutrition is also creating a mess in nowadays time. Now coming back to the chapter, the next part is improving the quality of food produced by genetic approaches. See, as if you go through this portion, you'll come to know how we have heard about GMO food, that is genetically modified foods. So GM foods are basically done because to enhance the nutrient quality of the food, or maybe sometimes it's made to get, nowadays we do not get pure foods. Lots of types of fertilizers, then insecticides and pesticides are also sprayed so that it is not affected by any type of insect or pests. So for these all reasons, what happens is we are not getting the exact amount of nutrition, or the nutrient value is going down a bit. Now GM foods are those foods which are taken care of so that the nutrient value doesn't go down, and we get the fresh and organic ones for us. Okay. Next we come to clean water, sanitation, street food strategy to improve the street foods. See, we know sanitation is required, and we have to make people aware regarding street foods. Of course, I'm not telling you that street foods are bad, but if it is not, the sanity and the hygienicity of the place, and the vendor doesn't maintain it, and the types of food, or maybe the protection, covering of the food, or protecting it from dirt or something, if these all things are maintained, then street foods are not at all bad. But of course, if normally what we see is these types of things are not maintained, so that way street food comes. So we need to make the vendors also aware of the fact, and of course about clean water, about sanitation, about safety, food safety. So we need to aware, and government does so. You can see there are programs held and projects held, and for example, one more thing which has happened recently, it happened in 2019. WHO has appointed us as in the KPC Medical College dietitians, to aware the Kolkata street food vendors and find the grade, and we graded them based on the sanity and the production and whatever. There were 42 indicators, and by that way we did something. If anybody is interested in knowing about it, you can always come to us, we'll tell you, because there is no such data which can be shared in NutriZap. But the data basically are like it is a book that we have made based on the surveys we did over there. So we do certain kinds of things, and that is told by the government. Next, coming to improving food and nutrition security. I have told this thing many a times just before what I was saying, so this need not be explained. By this we come to an end to chapter number 13. Now coming to chapter number 14, that is program management and administration. See, there, as I have mentioned earlier, there are many types of programs, profile access programs, intervention programs held by the government, but even somebody needs to manage these type of things. So here it is given what are the steps of management. The management consists of, the program management is defined as getting people to work harmoniously together to make efficient use of resources to achieve the objectives. Management consists of many functions. So what are the functions? Management of objectives. First and foremost thing, we need to go towards the objectives of the program and not far from it. Learning by experience, that is feedback. Division of labor, division of work. Basically, I don't prefer saying labor, because everybody who is working under a team is is a worker or a surveyor or a important part. So I don't specifically use labor, but division of work. Okay. Delegation, substitution of resources, shortest decision path. Okay. Now coming to how the management functions and the principles of management. Okay. Planning the function, of course we need to plan out how to move about. Then implementation, we have to implement it by dividing the work so that this portion of the group goes to that certain work, and then again another portion of group goes to another work. So that way we need to divide the work to implement it, and then again evaluation of the function so that to see whether the work is going in the right manner or not, or the feedback is better, like it is improving or not. And moreover, what happens maybe the way we are thinking to do a work is not the right way, and that we can know about that thing only after the feedback from the subjects. So that way what we do, we change it, and that can only be assessed during the evaluation. So if we evaluate, we have to again plan that portion of work and then implement it, and then again evaluate it. So that way the entire work goes. For now, coming to personal management. Personal management in a public nutrition program has a special role to identify, recruit, train and maintain the staff responsible for nutrition programs. Okay. So here, as we know, there are managers required for any type of work going on. So this is what a personal manager should be and how his work is going on. I will not explain this because this is very systematically written over here. You go through this. Now how to plan and implement and evaluate, I have already explained that in short, and these are the processes, so you have to learn it by your own. Okay. Now coming to techniques for conducting situational analysis or need assessment. What is need assessment? Situational analysis describes as a process by which the assessment of the current situation in the community is undertaken. Value-based judgments regarding the preferred or desired situation and reached, and some determination of priority status of local needs is made. So why do we conduct needs assessment? As I told earlier, say for example, we after maybe we have planned for certain, and there are 10 groups and the work is divided into 10 parts, and we have assigned maybe 10 groups about that. Then after evaluation we see that 2 of the groups are failing in what they are working, maybe due to the mismanagement, or maybe there needs to be addition of certain things. Anything can happen. So this is what we call needs assessment. So we need to look at that, and according to whatever the cause of failure is, we have to work according to that, and we can go by and rectify it. And after this needs assessment is done, we can go through that. Okay. And we can rectify, and we can accomplish whatever the target is. There are certain approaches which can be done. See, it is given in a bulleted manner, or maybe a proper points are given, so you have to learn that by heart. Okay. Now coming to one more thing which is important in case of short notes, that is Delphi technique. The Delphi technique is an idea generating strategy that does not require face-to-face interaction. For example, if certain things can be assessed without coming face-to-face with the subject, the surveyor need not come in front of the subject, then that comes under Delphi technique. Okay. Now we go by the definition. It also can be used in a small group or workshop setting, as I told earlier. It is more structured than the nominal group process and uses a series of questionnaires and summarized feedback reports from preceding responses. The entire process of Delphi technique is given in page number 322. Go through it. Now coming to the survey approach, which is very commonly used. Surveys are the best kind of a thing where how a plan can be done. and I have also told about our street food survey before, so that way it goes. So we come to an end of chapter number 14.